Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the April 2026 Lancaster County Planning Commission meeting. Thank all the commission members that are here, staff. Did everyone receive their packets a few days early, I might add?
Yes.
In time to review the minutes?
Yes.
Any changes or updates needed for the March minutes? That said, I'd like to make a motion to accept the March minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. I wasn't here.
We got one abstain. Did you get that, Crystal? Okay, we've got two items on our discussion docket. Both of these, I look at them as like sort of work sessions, but sort of mandates at the same time. Ms. Hall, you want to start us off with our first one?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Andrea Pruitt actually did all of the research on
Ms.
these and
Pruitt,
compiled
thank you.
this information, so I'm going to let her take over here.
I apologize.
Thank you.
What are you using?
Thank you. Okay, our first discussion item is to discuss updates to Virginia Code Sections 15.2-2247 and 15.2-2290 regarding manufactured homes and their potential effect on the Lancaster County Development Code. During the 2026 General Assembly session, changes to two Virginia Code sections regarding manufactured homes were passed into law by the governor, which was signed on March 31st of this year. Those two particular code sections establish the framework by which a locality can regulate manufactured home construction and location within its jurisdiction. Based on the new wording of these two code sections, changes to the zoning code will probably be necessary. To facilitate this discussion, your packet includes a copy of the previously applicable Virginia code sections, a copy of the newly passed applicable Virginia code sections, and a staff report evaluating the same. This discussion is envisioned as a work session to present information regarding possible changes to the zoning code. Based on the comments and/or questions from the Planning Commission and the public, this issue may be presented to you again with any additional requested information. What I did want to do is I was going to go ahead and read the summary that was included in that bill, which really just, obviously it sums it up. So this is Senate Bill 346. It amends existing provisions that require localities to permit manufactured homes in areas zoned for agriculture by expanding such requirement to all zoning districts where site-built housing is allowed with certain conditions. The bill provides that localities shall not adopt or enforce any zoning, land use, or development regulation that treats manufactured homes differently or more restrictively than a single-family site-built dwelling allowed in the same zoning district. The bill also removes the authority of localities without a zoning ordinance to designate the areas within the locality in which manufactured homes may be located. There's a few takeaways, just kind of summary takeaways from this. Firstly, this affects individual manufactured homes. It does not affect manufactured home parks. So that is set aside. There's nothing that needs to specifically be changed or affected by that. This is more about an individual single-family dwelling on an individual lot. Secondly, it largely expands or broadens the use of manufactured homes in agricultural zone property. And then thirdly, the most important one, I guess, is that it then now dictates that wherever a single-family stick-built, site-built home is built, a manufactured home under the certain conditions that have been designated within that code section must be allowed. And those three, the main three, are a manufactured home has to be converted to real estate per the applicable code section. The construction, it has to be constructed so that the certificate of occupancy can be issued within 5 years of the date plate on the manufactured home, and they have to be placed on individual lots. So again, it's separating out that manufactured home park scenario. And then with the second one, largely, so that's referencing that we're talking about newer made manufactured homes. You can still allow older ones if you would like, which we actually do under a special exception process. But those that meet these conditions and are newer are to be allowed wherever a single-family home is. So in addition to that, in your packet, we did compile the references in our zoning code that reference or deal with manufactured homes. So those are the ones that are listed there that would potentially have to be amended or changed in some shape or fashion. So part of what we're here to do as well is kind of work that out, talk about it a little bit, but if there's anything in addition to what has already been mandated that anyone wants to talk about, we can talk about that as well. I think that's it. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions.
Let me ask you a question
Thank you.
about, you know how the roof pitch has to be a certain pitch? How did that come about? How did that start?
To be honest with you, I don't know. That's been there, predates me.
Yeah.
I think one of the things Mrs. Pruitt and I had talked about was that we need a clearer definition on what they're referring to when they say converted to real estate. And I feel like that language in our code with the roof pitch and the foundation requirements are attempting to say the same thing, but they really haven't defined that. Is that correct? There is no definition for converted to real estate?
Well, there's a definition. So in the original Virginia Code section that dealt with the manufactured homes, the previous language, the specific language said, I think, placement on a permanent foundation and on individual lots. So it specifically said permanent foundation. Within the code section that talks about converting it to real estate, all it really says, it has to be attached to real estate. I don't exactly know what that means. If that means, your concrete, traditional foundation, or if there's some other mechanism that is also considered attaching it, but maybe doesn't quite qualify as a permanent, or, what we think of as a permanent foundation. I don't know the answer to that, and that might be a Jim Cornwell question. It might be a building official question
I'm
as well.
not too sure that the state even knows how to classify manufactured home. Even from my world,
Yeah.
you've got off-site stick-built versus manufactured. They're both the same thing. They're both delivered on the truck on a steel chassis, but they're classified differently. So, I mean, who the heck knows where this is gonna go as far as,
In my mind, the foundation means you can't move it.
Right.
yeah, so on the
Right.
permanent foundation. That's when I think it converts to real estate versus personal
Now,
property.
what about HOAs who have covenants and you have to have a certain type
They,
of home?
they can still, that does not change. So the HOA's restrictions and covenants can still regulate or prohibit them under
they still
that
supersede.
framework. Yes.
But the big change for us is now, we only allow them, correct me if I'm wrong, but in agriculturally zoned parcels, correct?
No.
No.
Okay, I thought that's all we did, but now they're gonna be allowed in every district or any
So
district.
you can have by right in R1 double wide, and then with a special exception, a single wide. And so
Okay.
we'll have to make a few changes there. But I think what we'll do is try to work through some of the language and changes that we would need to make, and then run that all by Jim Cornwell.
See, that's another thing, single wide, double wide, I mean, that's,
Well, I think the point is that there's no distinction between the two. The main distinction now is the age of it. So the by right is a newer model, if you will.
Okay, so there's no difference between a single wide and a double wide?
No. No. So let me actually back up on that a little bit. I think, and again, this might be a Jim question, there's no distinction. The idea is that there isn't supposed to be a distinction. So if you were going to require a certain roof pitch for a manufactured home, you can do that, but you have to say the same thing for a stick-built house.
yeah, I saw, yeah.
We could do that. We could do that. We could come up with certain regulations or standards that are uniform across the board. Whether we want to do that or not, I don't know. I mean, not to make light of it, but
Since we don't know the origin of the roof pitch, let's say it's not a safety thing or something like that. It almost sounds like simple we do away with the roof pitch thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
it would be the easiest way.
Yeah.
Because
right.
we don't know why it's there.
yeah.
What is the actual pitch you have to have?
Is it 4 to 12 now?
Three.
It's
Three-
312.
3 to
12.
12,
Do
yeah.
we got the same requirement for single-family home?
No, we do not.
No, but.
we don't. So,
but I-
like-
Yeah, I think what Andre is saying is we
You
could
do
make
it.
that the
So it has to be
standard,
Uniform for any.
yeah, for
Right.
anything. Yeah.
Basically,
then
manufactured
you've
homes are
got-
treated as regular homes.
Then you've got the folks like, I'm not trying to throw out names, but you know, you've got Randall Kipp, for example, who
Yep.
everything, his roofs are flat. He does the modern
Yeah.
That's
homes. So
true.
you've got a lot of
That's true.
houses that
That's true.
have flat roofs. So
Yeah.
you would be prohibiting that,
Yeah.
Prohibit man, keep that out.
That's what I'm
for
saying.
example,
Yeah.
you know.
Just take the roof
Just
pitch
take it
part
out.
of it.
Just,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
don't have that in there.
Yeah.
Did I read that now, we limit them to one, does it change our agricultural zoning? We limit them to one house per lot or whatever like that?
We do, and that is
But
another,
now they allow more?
well, that's the question I have for Jim, because, let me see. It used to say, again, on a permanent foundation on individual lots. Now it says, this is just for agriculture, simply says the placement of manufactured homes shall be permitted. It doesn't specifically say 1, 2, 3, whatever. So I'm not sure if that is trying to say that in an agricultural zone property, you can have multiple, like for example, your house, a guest house, a farm office. That doesn't sound right, but you know, like if you could have, I don't know if you can, if it's by right that you have to allow multiple, those structures to be used on agriculture. I'm not sure, and I think that's a Jim question.
Flying into this from 30,000 feet, that would be an instance where we'd want to govern all homes.
Yeah.
You know, only one per lot with, you know, the same accessory detached and that kind of stuff. So they couldn't get superseded with, you know,
Yeah.
breaking the density requirements we already have. I mean, that's.
Right.
But you could apply that to all homes, I think.
Yeah. I can't remember what the threshold is for when it becomes a manufactured home park. Is it a number? Is it-
In
is it-
our code, it,
Is it more like
more
more
than
than
two.
three or
it's two,
something?
it's two.
Two?
Yeah.
Within the code, there's, depending on which code section you're looking at, it's kind of defined a little differently. So within the section that talks about manufactured homes, in general, there's, I think, one definition. For example, if you go to the floodplain codes about that, there's actually a slightly different definition. But I mean, for us, it's two or more.
Two or more constitutes a mobile home park.
Right.
Correct.
Didn't we not remove mobile home parks from our zoning? They're not allowed anymore. are
No,
they?
they're allowed by
There's-
special exception, I think, in the agricultural district.
Yeah, one of the
Correct, that's
agriculture,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so when you look at our zoning code sections, there's a few in there that we don't allow them all together. So like, for example, residential community R4. So on my list, it says nothing currently listed, meaning we don't allow them. But under this, we would have to allow them, as long as we're allowing a single-family residence there, which we are under that zoning code. So you can go down that list. One of the other things to highlight, I suppose, is the W1 overlay, where right now they are only allowed in non-title property.
So that would change.
So that would change. So that means on your straight waterfront is what we're referencing, really. So if you're going to allow a stick-built house, 100 feet from the water, you have to allow a manufactured home under these conditions. Again, not necessarily a 1979 single-wide on a trailer, or, like on wheels, like it.
We don't allow those now? No, because I swear, I've appraised one on Greenville Creek.
No, well, that's the
They're older
special,
ones.
they're older
No,
ones,
it's
or
brand new
or
construction.
through a
We had
special
dog racing in
exception.
Doggett Lane, it was a brand new one.
Well, it
Well,
might not be in the W1.
yeah, it might not. And also, it could have replaced the previous one.
Maybe so, because it was brand new. And I
Yeah,
was
because
sitting there, I was like,
if you're grandfathered with,
Yeah.
say, a single wide on the waterfront, you can replace it with like for like.
Interesting. Well, the one thing, and maybe I read it wrong, but it looks like we can control everything still in our historical zoning ordinance.
Yes, yes, I think so. We don't have,
They're not.
you know,
they would
it's
not
really
be-
Christchurch area, I think, is the
Well, like
only.
the town of Lancaster too, right?
No, not through here, not the local historic zoning.
Okay.
It's, the only areas that are under the local historic zoning are the Christchurch area, like Andrea said, and Edgeley Farm
Okay.
has a house under historic, local zoning.
Well, I'm under the agreement with everything you recommend. Talk to our county attorney moving forward. I mean, it's a mandate. I'd just like to see us make sure we know what we're doing before we
It's a-
change our zoning.
It's a mandate, but I don't think it's the same kind of mandate as some of the Bay Act stuff that we have come in. You know, there's some flexibility still in there, I think. You know, you can still craft things a little differently. I don't think it's necessarily a one-way street, black and white. So, and that's where I think having a little bit of some guidance from Jim on some of the legalese terminology of some of the items there would be helpful to help know where to go from there to be on the
It
safe
sounds
side.
like the main thing is, if we allow stick-built home, then we gotta allow home
Yeah.
manufacturing.
Correct.
That's what that's the way I see it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But again, the definition has always been, you know, what's the difference between a manufactured module? A lot of times,
Yeah.
you can't really see it there.
And that's getting more
It was on a
blurry.
steel chassis, but now that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, I've been grappling with this for years. One
What-
lender
what-
will look at it as
what
a
options-
manufacturer. one
What
lender looks at
option
it as a
do
module.
the board of supervisor have for us, somebody appealing, coming for a special exception on something? Because right now, if you're getting a double wide, they gotta come to, you know, they gotta come to the board, they gotta get a special exception.
Well, unless it meets the by right criteria.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So
That'll
when
change.
that goes away,
Yeah.
For the most part, but if it's older than 5 years, correct, we could still regulate it.
Yeah.
If the,
Okay.
yeah, if the manufactured home is older than 5 years.
so if somebody next month, let's say we got all this stuff, they go to Clayton Homes, buy a Clayton Home. Really, they don't have to apply for a special exception or anything like that.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We'd have to comply with the state code
Yeah, the
as
state code.
it's written now, yep. Even before we change it.
When's that go, when is this mandated?
I think it actually goes into effect, I feel like it's July 1
Yeah.
Okay, so it would
This
be
year.
July 1.
Yeah.
of this year,
So-
yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing they have to do is get all the permits and stuff like that.
Yes. And again, there's this, and we don't have, we can be less restrictive. So the main point is the converted to real estate, the newer model within 5 years and placed on individual lots. If we, as the county as a whole wants to do something less restrictive, you can certainly do that. But that is the basis.
We still require them to be on permanent foundation though. And that's,
It has to be converted to real estate.
yeah.
So we're going to try to get an actual answer on what that
Converted to real
means.
estate.
Yeah.
And which I guess gets back to your point. You can't just go and hook truck up to it and move it somewhere.
Yeah, right?
Right, but I think, so when I was talking to Brett Dawson, the building official, he was mentioning, this was just like a side chat, and he was mentioning about how there's certain steel framing, I think that is being used now for underneath, that is considered, I think from his perspective, permanent. It would be like a permanent foundation. But then that's underneath, so then you've got what I don't know is if you can require skirting, like I don't know how that all kind of plays out. And this is, I think a lot of this is probably coming more from an aesthetic
Well, the
perspective
crazy thing is
than
the
anything.
federal government now looks at manufactured housing differently than the state government. Because with every manufactured house, I know there's the definitions are interpreted differently, but I would classify every manufactured home has their own data label, which is basically a serial number, whereas you don't have that for a modular house. So
Right.
I wonder if the federal government's still gonna make them have that different, criteria. And it's construction standards. I mean, it is what it is. It's crazy.
And I don't know if hurricane straps constitute a permanent foundation or not.
Yeah, because then they gotta have to apply to our building standards, if they're gonna do it that way. And that's certainly one thing you wanna make sure we look into. Sounds like y'all got it on the right track, talking to the attorney.
Well, I think the attempt is to allow more people to own homes.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's the intent.
Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Which is a good thing. But the change, like allowing these on the waterfront, is going to be hard for the public to deal with. So, I mean,
That it is.
yeah.
You guys have anything else regarding the manufacturing homes?
Sounds like
Thank you, guys. Good luck with that moving forward.
Thank you.
All right, our second discussion work session is regarding updates to the various Virginia code sections regarding the subdivision ordinance. Who's good? All right, Ms. Pruitt.
I'll take that one as well, thank you. Okay, so during the 2025 General Assembly session, changes to various Virginia code sections regarding the subdivision ordinance were passed into law. There were two, Senate Bill 2660 and House Bill 974, which were passed in March of last year. The collective legislation effectively shortens the time frame for approval of subdivision plats and site plans and removes a locality's ability to use the planning commission or governing body as part of that approval process for residential, commercial, and industrial zone properties only. Mixed use or PUD zone properties do not fall underneath this. In my memo, there's several code sections that are affected by that there. But as part of the House bill, a work group was created to review the newly passed provisions in order to provide procedural guidance for implementation and possible recommendations to the General Assembly for additional updates to the code. The work group's report was due November 1st of last year, which they did. As part of the work group's report, an initial set of amendments to those code sections to the 15.22-2259 and 15.2-2260 were recommended. In addition, the work group determined that additional time frame for further collaboration and review was needed. Particularly, the work group found it necessary to further review the approval timelines, the designated agent provision, disapproval process, and resetting the review clock. As a result, House Bill 135 was passed March of this year in the 2026 General Assembly, which extended the due date for that final report to November 1st of this year. Therefore, the earliest any subsequent amendments to the Virginia Code could be presented would be in the 2027 General Assembly session. Overall, based on the currently passed legislation, changes to our subdivision ordinance will be necessary. Changes will largely center on clearly identifying the designated agent as the approving agent, revising timeframes for approvals and disapprovals, revising expiration dates, and updating terminology. To facilitate this discussion, your packet includes a copy of the initial work group report. Specific reference is made to Appendix C of the work group report for its proposed amendments to those applicable code sections. Again, this discussion is envisioned as a work session to present information regarding possible changes to the county's code. Based on comments and/or questions from the Planning Commission and the public, this issue may be presented to you again with any additional requested information. And so the thing that was attached was this work group report. So again, kind of a big takeaway there is that this is passed, it's law, but there's this uncertainty as to how it's to be applied, I guess. So you're kind of between a rock and a hard place because it is, but yet in some ways it seems like it isn't a thing. As far as I could tell, and I didn't really dive into this too terribly much, but I have not seen any other localities change anything in their individual zoning codes regarding this yet. So I don't know if, and again, we might want to consult with Mr. Cornwall on this, but I don't know if anything has to happen immediately, because the danger is, not necessarily the danger, but you might change something and then have to go back and change it again, I guess. I think ultimately the way that we're operating right now is within, we were already operating, I think, within the confines of the new timeframes. You know, I think a lot of this is, some of this is directed towards the larger localities, the Northern Virginians and where they have so much volume that people are, these subdivisions and things are sitting around for so long. They're trying to help streamline that. We don't have that same type of volume here, so I think we're able to adapt to this a lot easier than maybe some other folks. So I think we're already operating within the framework that's there already. So I think it's kind of it might be a wait and see depending on what your preference is, and see how it goes. To kind of go into our code just a tad with subdivisions, subdivisions that are 5 lots and less are already approved administratively in the Planning and Land Use Department. Anything that's 6 lots or more is considered a large subdivision that needs to go before the Board of Supervisors for approval. I've only been here like a year and a half, but I haven't seen any large subdivisions come through. So I don't think the changes is that pressing.
Is basically what they want to do, right?
What's that?
They want to skip us. for
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's fine, but, I mean, how does the public get input if it's all done administratively? It seems unfair.
I
'cause there's no
think
public input section.
I think the idea is that if you are subdividing a piece of property, for example, and we've got a subdivision ordinance that has very defined requirements. If a subdivision comes forth that meets all of those requirements, as well as meets all the requirements under the zoning, the particular zoning district, whether it's R1, R4, whatever, the idea is that it should just go. I think what the state is saying, that there shouldn't be any debate about it.
So they don't even go to the board of supervisors either, then?
No.
No.
Would not.
They're cutting us out of the loop. But
If
that's
it
not,
if it checks all the boxes,
Yeah.
meets all the requirements,
It goes.
Right.
it's approved. But the final report is not due now until November 1st of this year.
November, right.
Yeah, So I really don't, it's really nothing we can do until after that comes out, I would think.
That's my perspective on it. I think if you look at some of the changes and amendments they've made to that code already, there's some that materially change it, some don't, they just kind of clarify. But then within the report, they even talk about how they're not sure that cutting out the governing body is necessarily the right thing to do. Again, it's one of these one-size-fits-all kind of solutions, which of course doesn't always work. So I think that's what they're mulling over. So who knows what they're going to come back with? They may change it all together and go back to the way it was. I don't know. So I'm not sure it's worth spinning our wheels right now if there's not a need necessarily.
So
Yeah,
oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, that's what jumped out at me, is just the fact that this bypasses everybody, and then if it's not approved within a certain time frame,
It's automatic.
Automatically approved. You know, they call that, what do they call it, when the president or the governor lets something sit on his desk, doesn't do anything about it, and it just falls right off. This seems to,
Yeah.
this is doing the actual opposite of what that's.
Right.
So I guess it's a pocket meeting, it's opposite of a pocket meeting.
So, Mr. Chairman, if
Seems
I may,
crazy.
I was going to make one comment. If we get a subdivision request that comes in of the 6 lots or more, I plan to ask the county attorney to weigh in on how I should proceed with that approval, since there is a little uncertainty there for now. Before we approve of any subdivision, we'll go that route.
I get it, I mean, it just seemed like it was a polite thing to do, is have input from the public, at least let them know kind of what's going on. Through 2 different processes, us and then the board of supervisors.
Right.
And if I could add one more thing, or just to reiterate, again, this has to do with residential, commercial, and industrial, so not mixed use or PUD. So when you're thinking about things like Hills Quarter or, I can't think of any others right now off the top of my head, but those are more, I think those are not part of this. So those are all under master plans. More, I don't want to really say a PUD, but it's kind of like leaning, it's like PUD adjacent, I guess, maybe, but, so that's falling under a different category. So changes to those kind of things don't fall under this. So I think that still comes to the governing bodies as per usual. I don't think anything like that has to change for like those particular ones.
So you all are okay with the short deadlines and all that stuff too?
Yes, we have been able to meet those deadlines.
Yeah.
It is what it is. What do you guys think?
See what happens.
Yeah, I just think.
The General Assembly passes laws, and then they ask for reports to,
Why don't they pass the term limit laws?
seems to me they would have got the report before they passed the law.
Yeah.
That's too logical.
Yeah, it is too much. So yes, I mean, if you're looking for anything, I would say let's not change anything until we know what to change, if we change anything. Interesting. We should meet only once every other month then. Hey,
Speaking of that,
Which segues
Yeah.
nicely.
It does segue nicely. So you have elections coming up. We typically do those in May. However, we don't have a lot on the docket right now. So in light of that, we could take off May, meet in June, and then you all typically take off in July. We could also take off in July. So that would be up to the board and what you would like to do.
For me, May works better off because it's graduation. Personally.
yep,
But I'm open to
Fine with me.
anything.
fine with me.
Okay. Yeah, let's take off May and convene back in June.
Okay, we'll plan to do elections in June.
Are we mandated to have the elections every 12 months? Are we gonna be okay with that?
I believe the bylaws state in May of every year, but if you are not meeting in May, it would,
I mean, that's
move
fine.
to June.
I know that the sticklers on that. Anything else? Anything else?
Just a board report if we have one.
Oh, God, yes, I forgot. Steve's big, he loves this portion of the meeting.
Well, I wasn't here for the last one. We did have one in, this month, but I was out of the state, so I wasn't there. But I understand it was a carport issue on a corner lot in Caratone by the Bay, and it was passed.
Is that yours?
It was a one house, was it? What was it?
You know where it was?
No.
Issue in Caratoman by the Bay.
He's trying to think which slide.
Was it West Highview?
Is Land's End West
Land's End
and Caratoman Drive. New house, newer.
Oh, that's the one, you know what it is, after Wishing Well on the right, where the guy bought that brown house? That was all in bad shape, but he's fixed it up, he's rented it out to the solar people.
Yeah.
It's that White House right across the street, I bet you that's the one it is.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
okay, I know what you're talking about.
I bet you that's the one it is. So, okay, thank you, Mr. Sorson. Anything else you'd like to add?
Now, I understand we have several coming up this month, but we'll see. May have several coming up
We
this month.
may, yeah.
Remember to make good notes, because you're not gonna be able to report on May, you have to wait till.
I tried not to wait for the meeting.
All right, thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.